Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to the channel. This is where we bring you all that's trending on social media and in the entertainment industry. Today we'll bring you a special one on what has been trending for a few days now on social media. Early on we saw some issues about rape arising, but I'm not going to do that alone. To help me with today's discussion, I have with me
Eddie
and reward.
But before we start, don't forget to like, comment and share the video. Most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notification bell. Today's topic for discussion will basically center on false rape allegations. In as much as rape is a serious offense that a lot of people have condemned, there's also the part where people are falsely accused for things they actually didn't do. So we take from the story that has been trending on Twitter, on social media for some days now, with the hashtag Justice for Izu, where a young man or a young person on Twitter has been labeled a rapist, and because of that he committed suicide. He was named among a list of rapists by one Twitter influencer with the name Nanichi. Now, people have shared so many views and thoughts and comments about this. A lot of people have actually condemned this act, and so this will be what we'll be deliberating on with the help of my two guests. Hello, Eddie. Hello, Reward.
Hi.
What's up?
You're good. I am good.
We are good. We are good.
Yeah, so I hope you guys have been following the trend on Twitter. It was trending for almost 2 days and still it's trending. Yeah, so I want to just have your thoughts on like your initial reaction when you actually saw the story.
I think you go first.
I was actually sad when I saw the story. Firstly, the guy is very young. And from the picture that is out there, you can see he had a promising future. I learned he was a fashion designer.
Yeah.
Yes, so the fact that someone that young would take his life, personally, I actually found him suicide. So the fact that someone like that had committed suicide, it got to me. Let's find out he was actually falsely accused. And then what got to me the most was there were snapshots, screenshots of his chat with the girl where he wanted to find out who it was that was accusing him so he could apologize. So obviously from that you could see this wasn't someone who, even if he had committed the act, I wouldn't say like didn't intentionally do it, but at least he's feeling remorse and he's
kind of
willing
sorry
to apologize for it. So looking at all of those things, it really got me sad. Like, why did you do that to someone?
Eddie?
I think that just like what I said, this was a young man with so much potential, and he was very young. And the most painful thing was the fact that he couldn't necessarily have the chance to
defend himself
and redeem his image
name.
and before passing away. So even the blogs and the online community would still one day, maybe in the future, his family, like let's look at how his family and his friends, close friends, will be taking it at this moment. So I think that it wasn't really the best. It wasn't really the best thing to have happened to him, but
it's sad.
It's sad. Let's see how things will unfold.
Well, so before we go into what will actually cause someone to take his or her life because he or she has been falsely accused, let's look at the part of rape victims. If I say rape victims, it means that whatever they say is true. So people actually calling out people on social media that they have raped them with should I say with no evidence or like with no facts stating exactly what had been done to them, because just as much as rape is a serious offense, falsely accusing someone who has not also done it is an equally serious offense, because rape is not something that anyone wants to be tagged to his name that, oh, this boy has raped me before. So let's look at how women have taken advantage of the situation to see that this person has raped me, when actually maybe it was a mutual understanding or it was something that both of them wanted to do, but it didn't favor her or it didn't favor him, so now he's coming out to see that she has been raped.
So from my view, let me speak as a guy.
Yeah.
I think that and let me say this on authority that I personally frown on rape. I think that even with this started a month ago. You remember a month ago on social media, people.
Yeah, the girl that was
there was a
raped
whole
in the church.
issue, or there were like discussions on rape and on the fact that people started calling out people who had raped them.
Yeah.
And there was one tweet I saw that I was happy or amazed about. One of the very influential people said that people are being raped, yes, but we should also look at the fact that people should be careful as to what they classify as rape.
Exactly.
Do you get it? So yes, rape is bad. Yes,
Yeah.
but let's also look at what we classify as rape. Rape is where there isn't consent. And you forcibly have your way with a lady or a guy in both ways. That's rape. You get it? So anything that is not done with consent is rape. You get it? I think even personally over the period, I was able to learn that wow, some of the things that I thought
were actually not consent. Yeah.
So even personally, I learned from some of the things that were being shared. But most importantly, I think that what we need to clarify is the fact that if there was no consent and you forcibly had your will with the lady or the guy, it was rape. Now moving on, or moreover, people who also were quick to mention names on social media and tag people did that because of probably maybe
now the class of the person.
Yes, so maybe for example they may have had an issue with somebody which was not sexual. It could have been a lot of reasons that may have arisen because of maybe a misunderstanding between them, and so therefore people classify people as
just to tarnish their image.
Yes, I think let's be realistic to ourselves. Let's be real to ourselves. People actually have done that where they've falsely accused people because of one or two reasons why. Maybe they wanted something from them, they didn't get it.
And some girls actually, like, if they want to sleep with you and you even deny them,
yes,
they can start shouting that
exactly,
oh, the person has raped me.
Exactly. So I think that it's an issue that is very painful, but let's put the record straight. When there's no consent and you forcibly have your word with a lady or a guy, that is rape.
Well, Reward, I want to know what you think about like coming out on social media to call out people who have raped you. Do you think it's because people feel like when I go to the authorities, like maybe in Ghana for instance, when I go to the authorities, my case be heard like right now, and then if we are going to look at harassment and rape and all that, I think every lady has like kind of like had a moment where she actually didn't want to do something with someone, the person had his way with her and things like that, but there isn't no proper structure to actually go and report to, so they'll just take it like that and forget about it. But now that social media has given them the platform, they go out there to mention those things. So what do you think about calling out people's names on social media?
Stella, what I'd ask is, what has that resulted? Going out there, mentioning people's name on social media, does that get them arrested? Does that bring them to book? No, it doesn't. I mean, maybe one person might have done it and then now everybody's like, okay, then that would be the right way to go about things. It doesn't change anything. Going to social media doesn't change anything. And even if you would be okay, or I would accept you going to social media to maybe like call someone out, let it be true. Let it be so true. You mentioned evidence early on, and I mean, nobody has evidence for rape. It's not like the girl knows I'm going to be raped, so let me video it. Or maybe like some of the guys do not even intentionally intend to rape them. Some of them will tell you, I couldn't just control myself. But sometimes, sorry, not to rape shame the ladies or something, but then some of the ladies too are too extra with the guys, and then they do not have the self-control, and then it happens. So you barely get evidence for rape, like, okay, I'm going to rape this girl, so let me take a video. You barely have evidence for that. So coming out to social media, I mean, you don't have evidence to back what you're saying. Look, out of this, we've lost a life. I'm sure he's not the only person, except now it's out there. That's why we know that Izu has killed himself. There are so many ladies, even just nude pictures of them go out and then they are killing themselves. There are so many of such things. So I don't think social media is the way to go. Even if yes, I was a rapist 5 years ago, I might have changed by now. I might have become a better person by now. So yes, if you think I did something to you, you are so offended, you are hurt. I mean, we probably could talk about it. And even if you think you want evidence from that, maybe coming to you, sorry to use Eddie, but like Eddie, I didn't like what you did 5 years ago. And Eddie doesn't have a change of heart. Like, he doesn't want to apologize, make amends. Even from that conversation I'm going to have with Eddie, I could
record it and
but that's
take it to the authorities.
Eddie has changed. I mean, he could apologize and then things would become fine.
Well,
but then calling Eddie out on social media, I mean, you're tarnishing his image, even though he's hurt you. What role did you also play in that in the first place? So I don't think social media is the way to go. Actually, it really isn't the right way to go for me.
I think just like she has also said, that social media can't be the end point of solving
or seeking justice.
Or solving the rape issues, because then again it doesn't do anything than to have people's names being out there, and then after, if we don't hear anything bad about them, then maybe after some years or some months it dies out. Do you get it? Yes, you made a point about rape victims feeling that maybe sometimes they do not get their issues being addressed and all that. I think that it depends on the situation it's in. Like what I said, I think that sometimes you could also, people may have just even had one opportunity with a person and they've been feeling bad about it or guilty about it their whole life. So maybe it was probably when you were in the university, you had a lady and you had your way with her, and now you are working in a big time company, and I think you could have that guilty mind or mentality within you from like this whole years. Do you get it? And maybe you're even finding ways and means to to apologize to the lady and all that. You've not had that time. So I think that maybe what we can do is that you could all either ways, like she said, approach the person, find out more. I think the world is changing. Things are changing now. Even the guys now are beginning to understand the rape culture and what it means to rape somebody. So like I was saying, on the same social media, most of the guys that I even had a convo with were like, oh, so they didn't know most of these things were actually rape. So it's like they've not been enlightened about it. And now I see guys who are even pushing for rape education or education on
I mean, guys get
consent.
Too.
Yes.
Education should be out.
Yes. So there's more education on consent, on what
rape is, what should be classified as rape.
So it's like, I think it's a conscious cause, a collective work. But social media doesn't become the end point of it. Social media just gives a face value situation, or it gives a face value to it. And you see, I think that Justice Izu actually committed suicide because of social media, because he couldn't handle the pressure.
Coming from social media.
He couldn't handle the pressure. So the pressure that caused him to like, oh, okay, there isn't any resort. I can't do anything else. Let me kill myself. Other people, I am sure other people may have resorted to even taking drugs because it was a mental health issue. And I think we will come there, but that's the point. It was a mental health issue, and the only resort for Izu was to kill himself because he couldn't handle the pressure. Not everybody could handle the pressure.
Even if he could handle the pressure, I mean, the only way he could have redeemed himself
was the same social media.
Yes, and then the girl letting him know who it was that was accusing, but she denied him of that too. So there was no way he was going to be able to redeem himself.
Yes, that comes to the details you were talking about. That if you are calling someone out, give us the details.
Exactly.
Yes, don't just come and say that, oh, Eddie has raped me.
What proof do you have? I mean, yes, people are being raped sincerely. Even them, what proof do you have? You get it? There is no proof. You really do not have proof. Some people are believed because, I mean, you look at them and then you think Stella is not that kind of person. So if Stella is saying something like this, I mean, if you're someone who dresses in a particular way, you know society, this girl dressed like this, they've raped her, it's her fault. You see, so sometimes it depends on who is saying what, but then in the end, nobody really has evidence unless whoever it is that raped them is willing to admit that yes, I was raped, and then like say it and let us know. Don't sit somewhere and say I don't want people to know me.
But
you want to know you that one, but you can mention someone else's name. It's bad. It's very so that was his only way out, and he wasn't even given the opportunity to redeem himself. So that was it for him.
Well, I think this calls for a lot of education on what rape actually is. That's what, as for me, I will recommend to anyone, because a lot of times, like a lot of guys will admit to you that they've had things to do with people that they didn't even know that it was rape. For example, coercion, like you just like you beg the girl a little, like what don't have to find a day. By the end of the day, you have your way with her. She didn't really want it, but you forced her into it, and can also be classified as rape. Now let's finally go to what will cause someone to decide to take his life because social media, like his name is out there on social media that he's a rapist. Like, rape is bad, but being tagged with something like that, do you think that social media caused him, or it was other factors that we are not privy to? Like, we don't know his background, we don't know what exactly he does, and we don't know what thinking went into him deciding to finally take his life.
So let's look at this from the first point of discussion here. Social media doesn't rape not even in Ghana, in the world, is something that is now taken seriously. Like, people attribute so much importance, emotions, every other thing to rape. Now, the only issue is that if you are accused of rape, social media doesn't afford the luxury for people to be able to quickly defend themselves when there's an allegation or an accusation on your personality or as an individual, because then there again, rape is something that generally people frown upon. And so when you come out to say, okay, I didn't rape this lady, how do you justify
that she
didn't do it and defend your point? You get it? So I think that I may not know the guy's background, but I think I heard he's a fashion designer, if I'm right. Yes, but let's look at the fact that depression may have set in, mental issues may have set in at that point in time. A lot of thoughts may have run through his head. Do you understand? So what then did he do? Maybe he may not have been like other people who might have had the courage or self-control to handle or withstand the depression or the mental issues. But then what did he do? I think he felt that maybe taking his life can end it all, because yes, after all, when I end my life, I won't have anybody tagging me and all that. You get it? And look at how after ending his life, the news came out. So let's assume that we know about this guy's story. He has taken his life. Do we know other people that may have also gone through other forms of depression and other engaging in other activities just to feel good about themselves? No. So that's why, even though we attach more importance to rapists or people raping people, we also need to attach more importance to people who falsely accuse people of raping them, because rape is a very delicate and serious issue. Like I told you, some people do not even know that they have raped somebody until
the person
discussions come up. So, for example, if let's just say I want to like have sex with a ward or with any of you, and we are talking about them and all that, and in the heat of the moment, I decide to like do what I want to do. That's in that circumstance. People say that yes, you should even ask her before you continue. But in the heat of the moment, I'm not sure the guy will talk about everything and say, okay, please, am I allowed to? I think sometimes we need to understand the dynamics.
And be real. Like, some things are natural.
So if you're a guy or you're a lady and a guy raped you, and probably maybe you have something to do together, and now you don't have that anymore, I think you should be able to yourselves to speak to yourselves about it, discuss it at length. I think that, like we always say, relationships are about communication. So why, if it's about the same having sex or whatever, can't we still communicate? We can. So I think that we are touching so much of pickiness to what we want to accept, because now people think that they decide what to accept and what not to accept. So it's like, I accept some things and I don't accept some things. I think that we should find a way to stop that. Let's look at collectively how we can all weigh the options, discuss it, and then we all can be better.
Yeah, and I also think that one thing that sometimes is really a problem, that people will say that women or the rape victims themselves are also part of the problem, is maybe 5 years ago I had something to do with you. It was a mutual something. Yes. Then after 5 years, I come back to call you out and say that because now maybe we've broken up, or circumstances that led to our breakup, like I didn't like it, wasn't my favor. So I'll come back after 5 years and say that when we're in a relationship, you raped me. People will be like, so what have you been doing all these 5 years? Is it now that because things didn't end up the way you wanted, that's why you come out to say this? And because people also know the delicateness of rape, you know that when I come out to say that you've been raped, people like will support you, give you the advice and all that. They will just use that to work against you, but it's something that we really have to talk to
like
ladies about.
A few years ago, I mean, nobody would actually come out to say I have
Been raped. Yeah,
it's these days that it's like there are so many people who are championing the cause of if you've been raped, come out, let's help you, talk about it, don't be shy, and all of those things. That's why people are now coming out. So they probably might have been raped in those relationships, but then now they are free to talk about it. That's why they're coming out to talk about it. And I think one other day I encountered a lady, and she says there's nothing more painful and so wrong than the fact that you have not been raped, and because you want sympathy, or you feel guilty, or you regret something you have done in your past, you say you've been raped. If you've not been raped, don't say you have been raped.
because
It
even
feels like
yes,
mockery. You are mocking those who have actually been
been raped.
But
Yeah,
it's probably is very painful. They have lived with depression, guilt,
self-esteem,
all their
all
life.
those things.
And then you who willingly did what you wanted to do, now you regret it. So you say I have been raped. Like, you are making fun of it. Yeah, taking the situation lightly. It is not fair. So we have to stop doing that as well. And I really don't know the full story, but I feel that is the case in this Izu's case. Like, you just want the sympathy. I think I read somewhere that he actually had something to do with this nanny girl, and then it didn't get serious like she wanted. Reason why she did that to him. And it is so not fair. You don't do that to someone. I mean, before you do anything, put yourself in the person's position. If it was me, how would I feel about that? How would I handle that? Is it even true? How would you feel if the table was turned the other way around? How would you feel? And it is just sad that, I mean, when guys come out to say they have been raped, we do not treat it with so much importance like when ladies come out to say it. But then, like,
that's the equality we are preaching.
Exactly, it is really real. For some of the guys, it's bad, and some of the ladies are so tenacious and they are so feisty. Anything they do to the guys, but because you are a guy, I mean, even his friends will say, "Oh, tomboy, like you made a girl do this."
Yeah.
But some ladies are actually doing so much worse than what some guys are doing to some ladies. It is bad. And then one other thing is this, our Ghanaian culture about this consent thing. Sometimes she actually really does want it, but she will not say yes because it's a Ghanaian culture, and then in Ghana, this thing about sex and all of that. So you actually do want it, and then it happens. But then later you say what you have a new boyfriend, and then you want to appear like a holy person to him, but then you know one day you find out you are not a virgin, so let me just pin it on my ex-boyfriend. He took advantage of me. Sister, don't do that. You wanted it. You so wanted it. So if we are preaching the fact that people should come out and talk about the fact that they've been raped, let's make ladies also know that if you want it, say it. Don't expect him to come and touch you and you do and then you eventually do it. The guys, I mean, if they are watching this, do not do it, because one day she can just label you as a rapist, and then maybe you might not be strong enough, and then you end up like Izu right now. Let her ask you for it.
Yes,
and
if she doesn't, if she wants and she doesn't, she's not bold enough to say it. It's her loss. Let her go.
Let her go. I mean, you are worth more than just the V. I mean, you cannot continue labeling guys as when they see it, then they are weak. I mean, you can also stand for your rights.
So boys, stop being cheap.
And then with this Eddie mentioning that last year, I think for a month now, this rape thing has been. And then about consent, now they have added enthusiastic to it. So it's not just consent, enthusiastic consent. Where I don't have to just say yes, but I have to have a smile on my face when I'm saying yes. So you know I
not
really
like you forced me.
So seek enthusiastic consent, whether from the guy or from the lady. Let them be happily saying the yes. So when they can tell them, see, I saw the smile on your face when you said the yes. So I did not rape. We have to let people know that, because I don't know how things are going. Even though it's good that we're talking about rape, we are educating people on rape. Eventually, with how people are just infiltrating the authenticity of all of this, it would now become like so
now people will be more focused on like what evidence you have,
right,
on more than actually tackling the issue that someone has been raped.
Yes, and it is bad. So we should watch that too. We should really watch that.
Well, and so that will bring us to the end of today's discussion. We've been talking about rape and falsely accusing people of rape. If someone has not raped you, don't come out and say that someone has raped, like he or she has raped you. Yeah, I'm using he or she because both boys and girls do get raped. Izu has died, but who knows what the other people who could not come out to say what was wrong with them or like come out of themselves to actually defend themselves, and who will even listen to you? I mean, we are preaching feminism, equality of gender and all that. What you do not want to be done to you, do not do to the other person. And so that's how we wrap up on today's edition. But before we go, any final words?
I think that's basically we've said it all. Now they say that the new term is enthusiastic consent. I think that yes, let's stop falsely accusing people. Don't jump to any trend or any trends that is on because you feel that yes, you also want to be heard. You know that I think social media is, we can make the best out of social media. We shouldn't just jump onto trends because they are trends or they are trending. I think let's just be have some form of
decorum.
Like she said, let's just show some empathy, some respect. People's life also depend on this. Before you do anything, just remember that if it was done to you or any member of your family, how do you think you'd take it? If a member of your parents or anybody close to you is accused falsely, what would you do about it? So I think that's my final words. Let's just be respectful of ourselves. Don't just jump to any trend because you think it is trendy, but be mindful of what is trending and use that to your advantage to help you make better trends.
And my final words, I want to let you know that suicide is never the option. Suicide is never and never ever the option. Even the Bible says your life, you do not create your life yourself, so it's not in your place to take your life. Maybe you may feel you do not have people around you, you do not have friends, but trust me, we would rather listen to you than attend your funeral. So please, if you are feeling depressed or anything, talk to someone, but don't take your life. It might be hard, but there's always a silver lining at the end of the cloud. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. So do not take your life.
Do not take your life. And I would also want to add that there's life outside social media. So don't just take your phone, get airtime, and just tweet anything or post anything on social media, not taking into consideration how other people feel about it. Cyberbullying is also very bad. And that's the end of today's edition. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. You can follow me on Twitter at sjjom. Follow Eddie at
K_secretary.
And reward
R. Quickly.
Right. And also follow Vertex Media on Facebook at Vertex Media. Bye-bye. Bye.